Hey Grace, this is Josh. I've been looking at your video here this morning and want to address some of the things that you put up in the student comments. Your back shoulder and reducing the space in your stance. After looking at these 5 swings that you sent me, I really don't have a problem with your stance width. I think when you swing, you do a good job of getting to a comfortable space. So right here, where your foot lands, this space that you have in between your feet, I don't think that's a problem at all. Actually, I really like that width. When you get to that a little bit wider than shoulder width, I really like that stability that you have, especially in this spot right here. So you can see at this point in your swing, you've already recognized the pitch, and you've already committed to swinging at it. The thing that I would tell you to think about with your stance width is what we're going to be doing with this foot. So this foot right here, once it's planted, you're going to want to push off of this knee here back into this hip. So instead of letting everything glide forward, here comes the rest of your swing, you do a good job of turning off of this. Okay, so as far as your stance width, I wouldn't be too concerned about how wide we are. I think sometimes the problem occurs when you get to this point in your swing and maybe we're fooled on a pitch. So we're here and the pitch isn't going to be in the spot where we thought it was going to be. Obviously, pitchers are trying to mess up our timing. So how well can we stay on this front foot and support our weight and not let everything drift forward? So I think addressing your shoulder issue has a lot to do with maybe what you're thinking about in your stance. So the more that we let this part of our core, and so we're talking about your spine, your abdomen, pretty much all of your abdominal muscles. When this part of your body goes this way, especially when we're fooled on a pitch, I think that's what makes us drop that back shoulder. So you can already see right now, you're not fooled on this pitch. I'm guessing that this is either coming out of a machine or a person flipping you the balls. I would say that for right now, this angle of your bat isn't too bad. This angle of your shoulders is addressing the ball. You look balanced on your feet. So just getting totally away from the stance issue, I would say as of right now, as long as you're getting to that spot consistently and you're feeling balanced, I wouldn't worry about so much the width right now. I would say keep getting to that same spot. And every time you get to that spot, just realize that once the foot hits, we're going to be working off of that front foot. Okay, so we're going to be working off of this every time that hits. And so the problem sometimes that we run into is once that foot hits and then we're fooled on a pitch, the rest of our body wants to go forward. And I think that's going to have us showing more of a tendency to drop that back shoulder. So I would look at this swing right here. I'm going to pause it. You can see your hands from right here. This angle is okay if your hands aren't leaving your body this way. So the thing that I would suggest is something that could help your back shoulder stay up more is to think about maintaining that connection that you have from here. So right here you can see this width that we have in between our hand and our shoulder. And so now the swing is going to start. If you see the swing in slow motion, immediately your hands do this motion. So right now your hands are pulling your shoulder down. I don't think that it's the other way around. So if you back it up a little bit right here, and we think about oh, excuse me, Grace. If we think about maintaining this connection, so we have this bend in our elbow, your shoulders are straight, your foot hits, okay, so now our shoulders are straight. Maintain this connection towards the baseball. So instead of turning with our hands like this, I would suggest that we take our hands out of it and turn with our core. So the foot's going to hit, all right? And so instead of turning with our hands, I would suggest that we use these muscles right here, our core, to turn our body towards the baseball. Okay, and so what that is going to help you do is when you're turning with that core, all right, we're turning towards the baseball and we maintain this connection, it's not going to let our hands loop out and cause that shoulder to drop. So let me erase all this and I'll give you another swing to look at. So here we start in slow motion, foot hits, and then you see the hands are doing all the work. Okay, so the turn, this is just a really bad pitch. I wouldn't worry about missing that one. If you can see in slow motion. Hopefully in the games we won't try to hit that ball because it's going to be pretty tough to do anything with it. But I feel like right now this part of your body, your arms, which is, believe it or not, one of the weaker parts of our body, is trying to do the turn. So if we can maintain this right here, this is a good looking stance. Get the foot down and then try to use these muscles to turn and these muscles, all right? So we're turning with our lower body and maintaining that connection. I think you're going to see a lot more success. And the truth of it is when you address the ball, that shoulder is gonna drop down a little bit. Okay, that's not really such a big problem. I think the problem is when we let these hands drop. So you can look at where your hands start. Okay, the ball's coming in this way. Our hands start here. And then you have like a pretty significant drop. I mean, I would even say like at least a foot. So watch your hands. Here comes the ball. Okay, so pretty much our hands go from here down to here, and then we start our swing. So we're initiating this swing with our little tricep muscle. If you can, I'm not saying you have little triceps. I'm just saying everybody has weaker triceps than they have core. So if we can try to leave those hands where they started here, let that foot hit the ground. Okay, now we're pushing off of this and we're turning against it. So we're turning with our core against that. Instead of letting our hands drop to here to swing and this turn from there, I think you're going to have a lot more effective swing, and you're also going to make a lot more consistent contact. Right now, when our hands get away from our body, and especially when they drop down before we swing, we have a hard time with hand-eye coordination really recognizing where this barrel is. So when the barrel starts at the top of our swing, right now we know exactly where we're at. All right, we got good recognition of our barrel and the ball's coming in. But when we drop them to here, now our swing's starting here. Everything's away from our body, and we kind of lose that barrel recognition. So the thing that I would say I would suggest that we work on the most is maintaining that tight feel. Okay, so right now everything's in good and tight. This arm is relaxed. Okay, maintain that. Let the foot hit, and then try to keep these hands from doing all the work. Okay, so here our hands are doing all the work out here, and our body's kind of along for the ride. I would suggest that we leave the hands there, let the body do the turn, and try to maintain that position while we're going through. So one more swing. See, this is a lot better. Your hands don't go out as much, and I'm guessing that you hit this ball a lot harder. So here we go. We got a good front side. We're going to use this to turn. You even have really good bend in your elbows. I would say just use that, maintain that position, and look at that contact point. I mean, that's excellent. I mean, if you can figure out how to do that consistently, Grace, I would say that you're going to have a lot of success. I mean, your eyes on the ball. This front elbow has a little bit of bend in it, which is excellent. And that contact point is just beautiful. I would suggest that the more that you can duplicate that, the more you can keep your hands from dropping and then going, I think you're going to have a lot more success. Some things that I would suggest that could help with this process would be some high tee drills. Hopefully I'm going to be able to get some high tee drills up on my site. But what we're going to do with the high tee is we're going we're gonna put a tee with the ball up pretty high, and it's gonna force our hands to move into action towards the ball. And the way that we can do that is we just maintain that original position and turn with our core. So it's going to keep our hands from dropping and then coming up to hit it, because that's just going to be really hard and hard to pull off the tee. So I would suggest some high tee, and then when you're doing this, these flips or this machine, I would just really concentrate on using those abdominal muscles to turn and trying to maintain that hand, that arm starting position. And I think you're going to have a lot of success. And that's the end of this quick analysis.